Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca and I redesign old thrifted items and I show you step by step how to do it. Through my channel, I hope to inspire you to use secondhand materials so that you can make the most unique clothing items. In today's video, we are going to transform an old bedsheet and we're going to make a unique dress with the lace trim. By the way, if you like my vest, I have an upcoming tutorial showing you how to make this using a tablecloth. Okay, so we're starting to drape the pattern and we're using the grain line along the neckline so that it lies flat and smooth. Gather and pinch the fabric under the bust so that it gathers and curves along the bust and pin it in place. On the side, you can choose to have a dart if you are more on the bustier side, or if you're more flat-chested, you probably don't need this dart. Then you can go ahead and take a marker and mark along the armholes and the dart and side and also the front. Cut this piece out. And then moving on to the center front, fold the fabric in on the center front about 1 or 2 centimeters and then smooth it along the body and pin it in the side seam and then draw a line under the bust, following the curve under the bust and cut these pieces out. Then you can go ahead and transfer the pattern pieces onto another piece of fabric and cut them out. And this is going to be the pattern pieces that we sew together as a mock-up to do some fittings and see how the fit will look on our body. So you can add some extra seam allowance here so that you have some more fabric to work with. Also remember to mark where you are going to gather the fabric. Next, sew up the dart and sew the mock-up together and do a fitting on your body. So I can see that it is a little bit loose around my bust, so I had to unpick some of the seams so that I could make it more snug around the bust and so that I don't have that much fabric being loose around my bust. So I just unpicked all the seams and I trimmed away some of the fabric so that it was a little bit more snug around me. And then I did another fitting on my body to check how everything is now, and it looks much better. And as you can see here, I am comparing it as how it was before, and it was much looser around my bust and now it's more fitted. So we're making the skirt pattern, and for the skirt measurements, you need to measure around your waist and divide that number by 3.14, and then you're going to add it by 2. And then we have a new number that we're going to use to make the skirt. Then use your measuring tape and a pencil and draw a half circle along the fabric, and also draw a half circle following that other circle so that you can have the length that you want on the skirt, and cut this piece out. And this is actually a full skirt fitting around your whole waist, so we are going to divide it in the middle so that we can have a front seam. Now cut this piece out so that you have 2 pieces all together. Next, cut out the back in a lining and in a outer fabric, and also the front part in lining and outer pieces, and also cut the skirt in the lining as well. And lastly, you can cut out 2 pieces of sleeve. For the front, we're going to decorate it a little bit with some lace trim, and I'm playing around with some different lace trim to see what I like. And when I found what I liked, I sewed it together along the front pieces, and then I sewed it in the center front together. Next, I pressed the seam and then I sewed up the gather area on the front parts under the bust, and I gathered the fabric so that it fits the waistband. Next, I sewed it together to the waistband, right side facing each other, and I did that with the lining as well. Next, I went ahead and sewed up the darts in the back part, on the lining, and also on the outer fabric. And then I sewed the front and back together. Next, for the outer fabric, I am also going to decorate the neckline with some lace trim. So I sewed some lace trim along the neckline. And I just cut the lace trim in the middle so that I could overlap the lace trim when it was sewn together. So first I just sewed the lace trim onto the outer fabrics, and then I sandwiched the lining over the lace and the outer fabric. That way it was easier for me to sew it together. Next, I flipped it right side facing out, and I did not sew completely down in the center front so that I could play a little bit with the front and make sure that the lace was laying nice and flat in the center front. So I overlapped the lace trim a little bit. And when I was happy with the placement of the lace trim, I went ahead and sewed it together on the wrong side of the blouse. When I was happy with the front, I went ahead and sewed together the skirt. I sewed the skirt together with the bodice right side facing each other along the waistline. And I also did the same thing with the lining as well. Next, I went ahead and I serged the edges around the sleeves and I sewed them together right side facing each other, and then I pressed the seam open. After that, I went ahead and sewed 2 parallel stitches along the top part of the shoulder of the sleeve, and I pulled the thread so that it gathered slightly, and then I put it inside of the armhole of the dress and I sewed it together. After I sewed it together, I also finished it by serging it around the edge. Next, I went ahead and I folded the edge of the sleeve 2 times and about 1 centimeter wide. And I pulled an elastic through the edge of the sleeve and I just tied it in the end, and I sewed over it after I cut away the excess of the elastic. Next, we're going to attach a zipper, and we're going to sew it together on one side of the dress first and then on the other side of the dress, only on the outer fabric. And after that, we are going to close up the bottom of the dress from where the zipper is ending down to the hem of the dress. Then you can press that seam open and also fold over the lining over the zipper and just turn the dress wrong side out and sandwich the zipper in between those layers and sew it together. Next, do the same thing on the other side of the zipper. Take the lining over the zipper, sandwiching it in between those layers, and sew it together. Then you can also flip the dress around right side facing out and close up the lining back by just sewing it from the bottom of the zipper down to the edge. Then we're going to hem the skirt, and I'm just using some bias binding here, and this is a quite stiff bias binding, so it gives a little bit structure down on the skirt edge, which is very nice on this design. So I'm just sewing it along the edge one way, and after I have sewed it around, I just overlap the ends and I am just sewing it in place, and then I fold it over and sew another stitch. After that, I went ahead and just pressed the seam so that it was nice and flat. This step is optional, but I just added a row of covered button, and this was my dress finished. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you will be inspired to do something similar. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial and that you will give it a try, or if not, be inspired to make something similar. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. That will help me out a lot to reach more people. I post new videos every Thursday and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye!